Welcome to episode 3 of Love Bravely. We are talking today about being uncomfortable, the ups and downs, the pain of growth and being vulnerable, but we're doing it in a fun way. This is exciting. I love it. It's so much fun. Not really. It sucks. How about that?
In the last podcast, I noticed this one was rolled up, but this one wasn't. And it drove me nuts
It's
because
going
they're
to be like,
uneven.
if I have to look at that, it's going to probably drive me a little crazy.
Well, you didn't let me know last time.
Well, I didn't notice it.
Dang it.
Sorry.
Here we are
Hang on,
again.
have your back. Yeah. Happy Monday. Is it Monday?
No
Tuesday.
way.
It's Tuesday.
No, it's Monday.
Oh, it's Monday.
We're recording as much as we can before it gets gross out.
We might be in snowmobile suits.
Maybe.
Might be fun.
We should do that.
Maybe we build a fort. Like a snow fort.
Yeah.
Or like maybe
Like a little igloo?
like an igloo.
Yeah, that'd
Maybe
be cool.
we get like an igloo bubble
That'd be real cool.
and then do that. Or we could, build a bench in the snow.
I'd be about that. I asked Nicole what she wanted to talk about today, and she goes, let's talk about how much it sucks launching this podcast.
I hate it.
No, you don't.
I really do. I don't like it at all. I don't. Do you know how
Okay,
hard
but how
it
have
is?
you felt? Hasn't it felt, in a way, there's got to be something rewarding about, having something on your heart for so long and then finally releasing it into the wild. And you have so much to say. I've had the pleasure of learning from you over the past 6-7 years. But like now you have this channel where you can express yourself vulnerably, which that in itself sucks.
It's horrible.
But it's also, there's a part of it that's got to be healing.
Well, I think it's all healing, right? But who wants to sit on a camera and expose themselves on purpose?
Yeah, that's harsh.
I think if not to say that, I mean, I live a really great life. I've, had a lot of success in just, with, life. And I sit back and sometimes when I wake up and I'm like, I don't really want to do this. Why am I doing this?
Well, that's just the thing is you don't really need to have you don't really need to do anything.
No, I don't. But there is a need in me that feels like I want to see the world in a better place. So
Yeah.
if I can be a part of that, then I
Yeah.
want to be. It's like having a purpose, having a part of something. And
Yeah,
raising 5 kids, I think that is too. It's timing.
totally.
Um,
I'll rephrase that. You don't financially, it's not like you need to launch a brand or a business to try and make money but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we're all llooking for purpose.
yeah, I don't
We're all
really,
looking for that
you're
thing.
always like, we should get this and we should do that. And I was like, we got to sell that thing, man. Why don't we just go around and give it away?
Yeah,
That's really
great.
what's always in my head. I'm like, let's just give it all away.
I know. I'm building out merch right now, and I have like a spreadsheet based on like everything, how much it costs, and how much we'd have to sell it for to make profit. And Nicole's just like, no,
No,
absolutely not.
no, I like talking. I like the talking part. I don't like the business part of anything. That is very true. If I could just, buy things and give them away, great, super.
That'd be
Great.
awesome.
That would be awesome, right?
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So I mean, getting into the deeper part of like why you're doing this podcast, first I want to hear about how maybe something you didn't expect, something that's come to you since launch, really like putting this out there in the last month or whatever that you didn't expect,
Mhm.
and then in a positive light, and then maybe something that's just like, oh, what are the struggles? Is it like to genuinely to get out here? It's like I drive out, I bring all my gear, we drive the Bronco on
That's
the
the best
field.
part.
We set up, yeah, we set all the gear up. It's not like it just happens.
No, we
So
create it as it's that morning. Like, oh, I have the red heart. Like, I'm gonna go grab the red heart because you wanted the cords hidden. I'm like,
yeah,
and right before I even came out, like, it was like grab the red heart, but I didn't grab the red heart, and I ended up going back to grab the red heart. So it's kind of like there's no prep.
well, and
There's no prep in this.
I guess what I'm saying though is like it's not like you just go blah and all this stuff is out
No.
in the world, all these, all this vulnerability. It's
Yeah.
like you have to make conscious decisions around what we're doing and what we're talking about and if we're going to film today
Yeah.
and what the set's going to look like before you do that.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. Because the whole time it's leading up to you just spilling your guts
But I think that's the best part, is the creative part.
in front of
And then
everyone.
we sit down and we start talking, and then I have to kind of think, why am I doing this? Because it's not fun.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with, I feel like I always say this thing, I was having a conversation, which it always comes out of a conversation,
Yeah.
right? Because we learn through conversations. We
Yeah.
learn through communication. That's the only way that I shouldn't say the only way we learn.
Yeah.
But it is a huge part of how we learn about,
Yeah.
what we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm at a place in my life where I've done a lot of reading over the years, journaling over the years.
Yep.
And it's like you can gain all this wisdom and knowledge, but it doesn't really become wisdom unless you teach it, or you talk about
Apply
it,
it.
or you apply it in the world. And we're all human beings, right? We all share the same emotions: sadness, anger, happiness, joy, all these different emotions. But sometimes people don't know what to do with it, or sometimes people don't even know why they're having it. Sometimes
Mhm.
people don't even ask the question, why am I doing this? Why do I feel this way? We just feel it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
having a knee pain for 20 years. I'm like, yeah, I got this knee pain. And I'm like, well, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's just there.
It's just there
It's
now.
just there.
It's just a part of me.
So I look at my emotions today, and I never gave them the opportunity to even be felt. I mean,
Yeah.
like, of course we feel them,
Yeah.
but I never gave them the opportunity to be like, oh, what's behind the feeling?
Hmm.
Like, I don't think I've ever felt anxiety like I do today. I don't even know if I even felt anxiety before, because I was just busy all the time. I don't
Yeah.
even know.
I
Maybe
think
I
stop,
did.
take a second to slow down and go like,
Yeah,
oh,
like, it's very uncomfortable.
yeah.
I say almost every day, this blanket sucks. I hate
Yeah.
it. I hate feeling uncomfortable. I hate feeling this way. And I used to be like, I love being uncomfortable, but I
Now,
don't think that I was really uncomfortable.
maybe you love the outcome of experiencing discomfort
Yeah.
and what is gained through that.
But I
But
don't think I was even going here.
yeah,
I thought like, oh, I'm really
I'm
diving
really digging
deep.
deep. It's like there's more depth.
That's more to it. And
Yeah.
so to sit here and do this, to talk about what is pain today, or any emotional part of any part of my life, it's just very strange. I
Yeah.
hope that's not
Yeah, there's a lawnmower happening in the background. If you can hear that, too bad.
yeah, just we're out in nature.
Yeah.
But you said the one question you would ask me over the years. What did you ask me in the beginning? You said something like, what am I getting from it? What am I doing?
Yeah,
What did you-
is there something or I asked what is something you've since launching a month or a month and a half
Oh.
ago, what is something you've experienced that you didn't expect, both good and bad?
All the feedback has been very positive.
Yeah.
And I know when you put yourself out there, you can have a lot of haters. That's just part of the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
People are really bold
people are
online.
they're bored. They don't want the good to come out. They don't want the shadow side to come out. They just want to stay, they want to remain angry.
Yeah.
And that's fine. If you want to remain angry, that's for you.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
So the best thing has been all the good feedback, and just getting messages from people like, oh my gosh, that, I feel the same way, or I went through the same thing, or, oh my gosh, it's, like, keep going, keep talking about this while this is,
Yeah.
that's the great part.
Yep.
The other part is that I don't love about it
Yeah.
is I actually have to face those things in me.
Yeah. You can't fake the conversation.
But I don't.
Well, we after the last episode, like it felt a bit heavy, and you're like, I turned to Nicole afterwards, and it's like that was a very hard conversation for me to have, and I go, good, and it sucks, and we go, we better do like a light podcast just to like
Yeah.
lighten it up a
So
bit,
heavy. I
and
feel so heavy.
but we're here to talk about struggle. We're here to talk about pain, and it's like. There's so many feel good podcasts, and if you want to feel good,
It
go,
might
maybe
not-
some go
this is
listen to
probably
those.
not for you then. It's
This
not-
is, there's some challenging conversations, but they don't have to be heavy. Like there can
No.
still be lightness and
Yeah.
beauty in what we're finding, because yeah, what we're talking about is painful at times, but
Well,
the
growth
beauty.
is pain, right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever grew because, oh, it was joyful and great. No, you didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
What we learn from growth is like you have to go into that place where pain unfortunately exists. And but once you get through it, you're like, "Oh, that's why." And
Yeah.
then for me, I'm like, "I feel horrible." Then I'm like, "Forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness," and then move through it,
Yeah.
right? And then you hopefully it's just the right it's not that I, like, beat myself up about it, it's
Yeah.
that, wow, I'm really compassionate and empathetic towards that part of me
Yeah.
that wasn't in that moment in
Yep.
time, and if I can just be the vessel of which love can come through
Yeah.
in those moments, um, use me, okay?
Yeah.
That's kinda how I
Yeah.
look at it, like, use me.
Well, there's
It's
also different kinds of pain. There's a pain or like, oh, this feels gross. There's a feeling of like, you say you hurt someone, you did something wrong. That's a different kind of pain than I call it a vulnerability hangover. It's like
I love I've never heard that.
after you're really vulnerable, especially like with anyone, but especially online publicly, like what happens after is like you get this like vulnerability hangover.
Yeah.
But then once you start to like go,
What does that feel like?
it
Like,
feels gross. It feels like
do
I
you wanna
just
throw up?
exposed
Do you
myself. Well, it's
wanna do you
fear.
sweat? Do you
It's fear because you've really exposed yourself, and then you go, are people going to? Hey, we're hoping people connect with this stuff. Like
Yeah.
you talk about it all the time, relatability, and it's like I just want to give people. I want to talk about the things that no one's willing to talk about,
Mhm.
and hopefully make people who are going through something feel like they're not alone, and there's something I'm saying that's relatable.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is like you go, okay, so I hope this is relatable,
Mhm.
but then I also hope people accept me after I've exposed this side of myself. So there's fear there too,
Mhm.
and I think that's what keeps us from exposing ourselves vulnerably.
Yeah.
You know, the emotional side of ourselves, or the
You have to check out his, what do you call it, handle? Is that what you
it's like a
think? It's like a
brand.
brand, but, Make Fear a Stranger because he talks about the fear that, when we have fear, it doesn't allow us to live our purpose, and
Yeah.
I was that person for a long time,
Fear,
so
well, yeah, I think
yeah.
fear is the number one thing that holds us back from our purpose. Like
Right.
when we talk about fear, we think about things that are physically dangerous, you know, like
Mhm.
skydiving or motorcycling or whatever. And it's easy for people to say, I'm afraid, I'm scared of that. But we
Yeah.
rarely use the word fear when we're talking about launching a business or falling in love or
Yeah.
doing something psychologically or emotionally dangerous.
Yeah.
Those are masked behind phrases like, I don't know how, or it'll never happen,
Yeah.
or I don't,
That's
you know,
the
whatever.
negative self-talk.
But it's all drawn back to fear. And
Mhm.
I learned something from you the other day. You talked about fear and how ego plays a part in
Yeah.
fear.
Mhm.
I'm still processing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what I've learned over time just by reading, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not some therapist. I don't know everything. I am talking about the things that I've either read or I've learned or what resides with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when ego gets in the way, ego is a place, and this makes sense to me when I read it, and I don't know who's explained it like this, but it wants to keep us safe.
Yeah.
It's like our safety. It's like
Yeah.
our what do you want to call it? For me, like an older sister that's going to protect me. It's
Yeah.
going to keep
A
me.
overprotective bodyguard.
Yeah, yeah, like, and it's going to keep me in the familiar,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because anything that's not familiar to me can seem very scary,
Yeah.
which would cause fear
Yeah.
in me, which is natural, right? But when I'm telling, I think this is a conversation we had, when I'm looking at ego and saying, hey, step aside,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing. You're okay to be there,
Yep.
but I have to have you move aside because this part of me that wants to do this needs to come forward
Yeah.
and you can't be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yep. Yep.
And I think we allow fear to create so much anxiety within us, and
Yeah.
it's paralyzing.
Yeah.
It keeps people in their homes.
Yeah.
It keeps people from doing the things that they want to do. And I can say for me that it kept me from Love Bravely for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I was a fear like, oh my gosh, people are going to really know what I think. People are going to really know what's in my mind. People are going to not know that other part of me that was so easy for me to just live every day, right?
Yeah.
I'm a mom, I'm a this, you know.
But has there been there's got to be a feeling beneath all the like, I freaking hate
I
this,
hate
I'm
it.
exposing, there's got to be a
Hate it.
feeling of freedom too, because
There is.
you're not, hiding anything. There's not, we post on Instagram the other day. It's like, you don't have to hide when there's nothing to hide.
No, that's the
And
thing.
that's a really cool feeling too.
That is the best feeling. I'm glad that you brought that up because I did not even remember that. But I'm glad that you brought that up because here's the thing. If somebody wants to say something to me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, what's the
Okay.
easiest way to like to turn off a bully is to say that
Agree with
like
them.
you make fun of yourself,
I
like
agree with them.
self-deprecation. It's like no one can make fun of you or like make you feel it if you're just saying it.
I'm already exposing
It's like
myself.
that.
What
It's
else
like,
you can expose?
yeah.
What do you? Why? And number one, why do you want to expose me?
Yeah.
Number two, people normally want to expose somebody else to make themselves feel better or
Yeah.
superior, or it's that fear of like, oh shoot, somebody's gonna know something there, right? So I'm
Yeah.
gonna bully that person, or I'm gonna say something to that. Bullying is just like a person's own fear that they don't want to hear what you have to say
Mhm.
because they're not going to go there themselves. So
Yeah.
they're actually in fear of that moment, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be exposed. I'm okay with being exposed,
Yeah.
although I'm going to also say it sucks.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I know other people are probably really good at it, and maybe they're like, "That's my
I don't
life."
think, I mean, I
But I
think you
just
get better
don't.
at it. This being the third podcast, is it easier?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a
sure.
lighter hearted one.
Yeah.
We're trying to like make light of it, but
I want to go take a nap after. I'm like,
yeah,
I just
especially
need
the
a
last
nap.
one.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I say? Did I say too much? Did I not say enough? Oh, did I? It's that's
When
that thing.
when I edit
Mhm.
this and send it back to you, are you ever surprised at things you said?
Yeah, I kind of listen. I listen as a witness, like I'm
Yeah.
witnessing myself to say,
Yeah.
oh, okay, what is she? Oh, that's okay, yeah.
Well, that
But
come out
there's also
great.
a lot of things that I
Yeah.
don't even know that I'm saying when I'm saying them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of coming
It's
out.
flowing.
It's just flowing because we don't have a script. I'm not looking at something to go, let's talk about that. I don't know what you're looking at over there.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted it, right? We just wanted it real where
Yeah.
where I'm gonna be like, oh, I need to think about that for a second. Or
Totally.
totally raw in
Totally.
real. There's no makeup artist, there's no nothing. We're just
Yeah.
sitting.
I'm the cameraman, by the way.
You're the cameraman. We talk almost every day about content.
Yep.
Or we'll get together and we'll talk about stuff, and you're normally asking me questions, and I'm going off on a tangent over here and over
I'm
there,
taking
and you're like
notes.
reining me back in. Like, what did you just say? I'm like, I don't know, but so it's like figuring it out. But we live in this world of just everything looks so pretty and perfect.
Mhm.
I just want to bring a little bit like reality back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not where we're photoshopped and we're not
Yeah.
this and we're not that. Like, I'm okay. Like, for me, I can't sit behind a camera and be like, put a film thing on me.
When you can't fake, that level of vulnerability, it's just like you can't fake it. Like I think
Why would I
people
want to do
try
that
it.
and then be real
Yeah.
over here? That doesn't make
Well,
any sense.
I guess like one question is like what changed between like last year and this year? Because we film stuff that we never put out, and that's
Mhm.
great. I think it got us to here. It's like everything we do gets us to the
Yeah.
next place. If it never happens,
Yeah.
great. But like I feel I think like that because we worked on stuff last year, we worked on stuff a little bit earlier this year, and then I think like 2 months ago you reached out, and I could feel like a different kind of openness from you that I was like, oh, I think she's ready to not just film and say stuff, but to put it out.
Mhm.
And there hasn't been, I think like there's times where I sent you stuff and you're like, I don't know, I don't like how I said. And this time, every time I've sent you stuff, you've been like, it's great, I love it,
Yeah.
and you've just gone, yeah, let's put it out. And I'm
I think
like,
because I've made a decision that I don't care.
yeah,
I'm trusting that what is coming out of my mouth is just who I am.
it's connecting with the right
It's
people.
connecting with the right people. It's not me trying to be something that I'm not.
Yeah,
The right people will want to listen to it.
let's freaking
And the
go.
wrong people, it's not that they're wrong. It's not that
Yeah.
they're wrong for me.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just not that place, or maybe they find me boring, or
Yeah.
I annoy them, or I'm just okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with who I am today, and I
Well,
think that is
yeah.
just like I can't be anything else
You
than
can't fake
me.
that either, because when you are genuinely okay with yourself and who you are, the expression of that is just going, that's all right. When people don't, it's not saying being totally comfortable with yourself isn't saying everyone's going to love me, I'm the best. It's going,
No.
there are people that aren't going to like me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm
I was
fine with
okay
that.
with that for a long. I was like, I don't like you don't like what? Like I because I can be I'm very empathic
Mhm.
and feel people and you know it's just that part of me that wants love for everybody, even
Yeah.
the people that I don't really
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Um and I hate even saying that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
We just talked about that, like walking together,
Yeah.
looking to figure out where we're gonna film today, and you're like, what did you say?
You said, I've just been annoyed with people
People.
and I feel guilty. And I go, Nicole, that's everyone. But you're
Yeah.
the love bravely person. You're the like, I'm a lover. I got hearts everywhere in my house. And it's like, that makes you feel like you can't. It's like, no,
I feel
there's
like
some
I can.
people that aren't that likable.
Yeah.
Those are the people that cost you something to love.
Yeah, and it's not that. It's that I don't like them. It's that.
There's people I don't like. I'll speak for
Yeah,
myself.
you can. I'm not. Maybe on a different podcast I'll say that, but baby steps. Um, I'm just gonna be it's honest, my honest opinion.
Yeah.
I think I just want to see the good in everybody, and that's the part of me. Like, there's good in everybody,
Is
right?
there
This world
tension when
corrupts
you,
them.
yeah, is there tension in your heart when you dislike
I
someone? You're
don't
like,
like. Yeah,
dang it, I'm supposed to be this. I thought it was
I think
so
I
great
can
at loving
love
people.
people very easily.
Yeah.
I don't think I like people very easily. Is
Yeah.
that fair to say?
Oh
And
yeah,
I
100%.
can love anybody because I can look past their flaws. I can look past their like they don't even know that what they're doing. They don't even like. I can see a
Yeah.
different side. I see the
Regardless of
good
flaws,
side.
there's just people
They're just
we
people I
don't
just don't
like.
like.
Yeah, we don't align with.
People that hurt children, I don't like those people.
Yeah,
People
no,
that
I
hurt
don't.
dogs, I don't like those people. I don't but it's not that I don't like them. I don't like what they're choosing to do and how they're choosing to hurt other people. That's
Yeah.
just a better way to say it.
Yeah.
And I had to come to the place of I have to be okay with not everybody liking me because I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I had to really come to that place to say, well, why don't I like me? Like, do I not like me? I think I'm cool. Like my kids think I'm cool.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like I had to literally sit down and be like, do I even like myself?
Yeah.
And from a person who used to beat herself up just to get going and do that thing,
Yeah.
to do the right thing, and you got to kind of beat yourself up a little bit to tell yourself
Yeah.
get going. And today I just don't do that
You
today.
do you feel like you started addressing some of those questions like, do I even like myself once you went through your divorce and you're like, I'm alone now? Like, whoa, I like, and a lot of your kids are out of the house, you're not
Sad.
married. It's like at that point you start to go like you you find yourself alone a
By
lot.
myself. Well, I was even by myself a lot just growing up,
Yeah.
and I was raised by a single mother, and like I said, didn't really, after 14, I didn't see my dad much at all.
Yeah.
Even my adult years, I didn't. And then, who I was married to was, building a business, and and we didn't really spend a lot of time together. It was
Yeah.
always business, and so, and then I just thought after the divorce, I really got to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have it together, but for me, I was like, before I date anybody, I need to get to know certain things about me.
Mhm.
Um, and I did,
It's a
but
beautiful awareness.
yeah, I think I became more aware
Yeah.
of some things. And then some things, you know, I never, throughout my life, I've had people like wanted me to talk about my dad,
Mhm.
and I never would go there. And I'm like, No,
No,
I don't
I'm
want to talk
good.
about my dad. Even
Yep.
in therapy, I'm like, no, I'm not talking about my dad.
Yep.
And they'd be like, okay, a therapist is not going to force you to talk about something you don't want to talk about. Until the day that I got separated and my dad and I became very close again. And
Hmm.
I got the best 2 years of my dad before he passed away.
Mhm.
I made amends with my dad no matter what.
Mhm.
Um, I learned how to forgive.
Yeah.
And I think through forgiveness, in realizing that people don't know what they don't know. So in their mind, they're doing the best that they can. And if they knew that they were really hurting me as parents or my dad, he would have never made that choice consciously.
Yeah.
So that is where I shifted kind of my own belief system and went, I'm not forgiving somebody because I'm saying that what they're doing is okay.
Yeah.
I'm forgiving them for myself so I don't carry around something that is not meant for me to carry around that's not serving me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to keep it in my head, it's only punishing me.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with them. I don't know what they're thinking about.
Totally.
So, that was that beginning of really having to dig deep into things that asking questions. How you dig deep is you start asking yourself questions and you have to answer yourself really honestly. And sometimes I think I was. And sometimes I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah. I know I
You're
was
not
being
being
honest there.
honest, Nicole. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm going to leave that one for now and I'll come back to it.
What's a way that people can start to find some of the other day you made a video that we put on social,
Uh-huh.
one of those like 5 minute or 3 minute videos you sent me, and you said I'm having these little moments of awareness.
Yeah.
These little moments.
Hmm.
How can people, I think we talked about this at the last podcast, how can people get to those moments of awareness sooner? But like without being alone, like how do you get to this level of depth, like a different level of depth? Is it a want? Does everyone have that depth to them and some people just don't access it?
I think you have to want to.
Yeah.
There's two ways of change, right? You're either forced to change or you choose to change.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's other ways, but to me, that's the two ways. You either
Yeah.
change. Um, in some weird way, I like change for
Yeah.
myself, my environment, not so much.
Yep.
But for me, I like to constantly evolve and change.
Yeah.
In order to do that, I have to see the parts in me maybe that have not worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm sitting back going, I'm just such a flawed person and I need to change everything about me because that would not be fair,
That'd
right?
be helpful. Yeah.
But I get to look at my past and say, what are the patterns in the things that I want in my life? What are the causes that I'm not in that space that I
Yeah.
want to be in?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm saying that's where people go, if it's a career, if it's a relationship, if it's just a lifestyle, whatever. Maybe they want to travel and they're
Take
like,
stock.
I haven't traveled. And like, but why? You have to go back into that and go, what are the choices that I made? Where's my mindset? What do I say to myself? Am I financially fit to go do that? Am I where I'm meant to be in order to get to that place where I want to be?
Yes. Yeah.
That's where I think and growth sucks.
Yep.
It is so painful.
Yep.
Um, it just is. It's
Yep.
uncomfortable, and you have to sit by yourself, and you have to be by yourself.
Yep.
I don't mind being alone.
Yeah.
I really don't.
The more you grow, the deeper you can go. The deeper you can go, the more purpose and
Yeah.
meaning and joy and love you find.
So if you can't find joy with yourself, or happiness, or content, or peace, um, if you can't find it within yourself, then you're going to look outside yourself
Mm-hmm.
to fill those voids within you.
Mm-hmm.
And I I have peace with myself. I can dance in my kitchen and find joy, and my kids will
Mm-hmm.
walk through like, "Oh my god, you're so weird." And I'm like, I'm just happy." I can sing in the household. I can find I can make myself happy by just doing the things that I love to do. I love to be goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll be 51 in a couple weeks, and I'm like, I just there is no there's no age to like finding joy, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm 51, I got to be totally mature now and
Yeah.
this. I'm like, no, I'm lighthearted and I'm the only one that goes sledding with I'm out there sledding and my kids are like, yeah, it's too cold. And I'm like, get in the sled,
Let's
let's
go.
go. And we're laughing and it's creating that happiness within yourself. Once you get to that place, you can be happy with anybody else.
Yeah.
But I think what we choose to do is we avoid the growth, we avoid getting to know ourselves.
We
And
look for
then
that joy. We look for outside of us.
we look at
But
outside
then
of
when they
us.
leave, the joy leaves
The
or
joy
whatever,
leaves, yep, and then we're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But not to say that, when relationships end or things like that, you're gonna have emotions
It's
and
gonna be
sadness.
pain.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
painful. You're gonna grieve that. But through that, you can still have joy and happiness.
Yeah.
It's within here, right?
Yeah.
But we live in a world of joy and happiness is outside of us.
Yeah.
I look at it today of like, I get to create a world in which I want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
to a degree. If
Mm-hmm.
things go the way that I plan. If they don't go the way that I plan, well, you got to redirect, right?
Yep.
Just part of life. But what can I find joy in this? Can I
Yeah.
find happiness in this? Can I find peace in this?
Yeah.
And that's your mindset.
Yeah.
That's just your mind, right?
Yeah.
You're in that space of thinking,
Yep.
well, where's my joy? Where can I find it? Can I go paint?
Yep.
Can I go take a walk?
Yep.
Can I go do this? Can I help somebody? Yeah, it's knowing yourself so well that it's your job, it's my job to take care of me 100%.
Yep.
So then I can give that 100% to another person. I
Yeah.
should never look to somebody else to fulfill my needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's
That's
the
so good.
point.
That's so good.
And when you do, you're creates a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all this applies. It's so fun because we get to talk about so many different things under the canopy of Love Bravely because all of this stuff takes an overcoming of fear,
Yeah.
stepping up, being brave, whether we're loving ourselves or loving someone else.
hmm
It's like it takes bravery to do any of those things.
Yeah.
Um,
It takes bravery just to sit out here because there might be a snake that comes through and I will freak out. So it might be funny, but I will freak out.
I don't know. I haven't seen any snakes out here
I
at
saw
all.
it. I went for a walk and it was like, oh, that's a big worm. I was like, that's a snake.
But if you mistook it for a worm, it was a very
It's
small
very small.
snake.
Okay. Fear is
How
fear.
big? Yeah.
Fear is fear. It was like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're like, oh,
Could be a night crawler.
It was actually dead.
Oh,
That's still snake.
still
The
snake.
heebie-jeebies in me. I'm like, oh, yeah. So
Don't love snakes.
hate them.
The other day we had a conversation around, and I just wanted to touch on this for a second, and we'll get into something else. But I can't remember the exact topic, but we were talking about filming content, and I wanted to try and capture some content outside of a typical podcast setting where it's just
Oh, yeah.
cameras on you filming, and you're like, I have insecurity around that because I don't want to come off like I know everything and like I'm being a teacher. I want to come off relatable. That's why the videos I film on my phone are usually more longer form. I'm not trying to say something super short, concise, succinct, and it's like, I'm going to take you from here, this level of understanding, to this level of understanding. I taught you. There you go on your day. You would rather have something that's maybe low. And
Right.
I asked you what your insecurity was around coming off that way. And you told me. Maybe we don't have to talk about that now.
Yeah, no, I love to talk about it. Because I think we are in a world of self-love and self-reflection, and these people, I think they're great. I'm not saying anything about these people that do. I watch them myself.
Yeah.
And I get a lot from them,
Yeah.
their wisdom. But I know not everybody is in that place in their mind to receive
Mm-hmm.
like that, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to come off like, this is how you do it, here's your 5 steps,
Yeah.
that's not going to be beneficial to a person who's not ready to receive and
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
So how do we receive and learn? On
In
an
a way,
accurate
it's
basis?
like, why would we want to talk to people who are, we want to talk to people who aren't
I
yet
wanna
in that
reach
place and bring them into that.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to go the opposite route, where I know for me, if you said, Nicole, I'm coming over at 1 o'clock, we're filming this, and this is what we're going to film, and I'd be like, bye,
See ya.
see ya. No, we're not. And I don't mean it in a way of,
No, I've
It just-
learned.
it's
I've
just-
learned. I know how to take that.
it would be very rude if I said, if I said, Steve, we're filming today at 1 o'clock, let's film today, and then I called you 15 minutes before and said, nope, sorry, we're done, which I probably have done that. Maybe not to that degree, but I've apologized and like, so sorry, did not recognize that until I recognized it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I've been in Woodbury before when I got the call,
Okay.
but I was showing up early because I'm an early arriver. But you know what? I
Except
actually
today.
really love that honesty, and it's allowed me to go to understand the level of, sometimes I don't want to use the word pain, but it does take an incredible amount of vulnerability to show up and say some of the things you're saying.
Mhm.
And so I've kind of looked at it from a place of like, this is already hard to speak about some of these things,
Mhm.
and in the way that you're doing it, very open, raw, vulnerable. I it makes me more aware of like how much this does cost you. And that
Mhm.
that maybe is a weird way to say it, but like,
It cost
yeah,
me
like
anything.
the energy,
My ego.
the energy it takes. No, but it does. It
Because
takes, it's like emotional energy that it
yeah.
takes to like,
But here's the thing. I'm a human being. I'm a
yeah,
mother of 5. I've been through a childhood divorce. I've
yeah,
been through just I didn't have a great childhood. And I'm not like some victim here. I didn't have I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I didn't have really great mentors in my life.
yeah,
I had to grow up really early, like really quickly.
yeah,
Became a mom at 22.
yeah,
Um, and supported a person for many, many years building an amazing business and very grateful for that. Um, but through that, I chose everybody else because I think I was super scared to choose me because I didn't know who I really was.
hmm,
I was so busy trying to be something for somebody else just to be accepted,
yeah,
not even knowing that I was doing that. I can only see that today. And I'm not saying like every moment in my life was like that,
yeah,
but what I'm saying, like the things that I achieved, it wasn't because I probably had a lot of security with myself. It was just
yeah,
like, I'm just going to go do it.
yeah,
I'm going to give it my best. I'm
yeah,
going to do this. I'm going to prove myself that I can do it. And sometimes I wasn't, sometimes I wasn't. But and this is I hate even saying this because it's painful just to say that. I'm like, who lives like that? A lot of people do, and we don't
yeah,
even know we're doing it.
yeah. And now when
Um,
you are choosing yourself, you're choosing it in a way that's also painful
it's
because you're
painful because I'm like,
exposing so much.
uh, you're still. I feel like at 50, I'm discovering myself probably
Yeah,
for the first time in a, and I'm discovering myself in the most horrible way, being vulnerable and exposing it.
yeah.
Hey, here I am.
It's cool because you're not only saying these things out loud, you're going through them as you're saying them. So some people feel the pain of growth
Yeah.
and the pain of like discovering these parts of them that they don't like and they're trying to change and they go a level deeper and there's
Yeah.
more shit and they go a level deeper and there's more shit. You're doing that, but you're also talking about it in real time.
Yeah.
And
The teacher
that's,
versus the student. I am learning. I'm the student and the teacher
yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time.
Well, I think that's what makes it relatable, right? You talk about some of these gurus online and they are coming from a position of I had this problem, I overcame it, I got here, and that's why I'm positioned and to teach you. Like
Yeah.
that's why I have the credibility to teach you. And you're going, actually, I want to talk about this stuff while I'm going through it because it's
Yeah.
going to make it more relatable.
Mhm.
It's going to make it more potent. It's going to make the message more raw and real.
Mhm.
I think that's really cool.
Thanks. And that's why I could not have you post the other podcast because I'm like it
Yeah.
came off like hey, I've been through all this stuff, and although I have, um, I was
And maybe it wasn't true to
it
how
wasn't
you
really
wanted to.
true. Something was off. It didn't
Yeah.
feel right to me.
Yeah.
And we need to have mentors and North Stars. And if Jesus could be here, that'd be super cool because I would love to sit down and talk. I'm like, how did you do it?
Yeah.
You know, um, I think it's just how we get back to the level of humanity is to be human,
Mm-hmm.
and to be human is to be real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have somebody telling me what to say. I don't have a mic in my ear. I don't have anything. I'm just in some of these, I'm like, you can probably tell with my hands. I'm like,
If you did have a mic in your ear, who would you have on the other end giving you
Jesus.
the Lord?
Oh,
The Lord
The
himself.
Lord himself, because he has the wisdom
Yeah.
and he also has the forgiveness, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
he probably has some really cool metaphors,
Yeah.
like I could say, but
Oh yeah, he's great with metaphors
great with
and
metaphors.
parables.
Yep. And yeah, parables. Like, yeah, it's just that's, you know, like I said, God's been my North Star
Yeah.
and throughout my whole life because I didn't have that really mentorship in this world. And I just chose to find somebody like, is there anybody out there that wants to mentor me?
Yeah.
Those are my books,
Yeah.
like that person's mentoring me, that person's mentoring me. And I want to
Yeah.
get different perspectives. Although it's kind of confusing, but you get a whole
Yeah.
perspective of it. And that's why, years ago I was like, I want to be a life coach. I want to help people. I want to, be that little bit of something in somebody else's life that if I can get there, then maybe they can get there too.
Yeah.
And then we can start creating nice, like kindness in the world. Not
Yeah.
niceness because it's people, I mean, it can be nice, but kindness is different.
Yeah.
Kindness is relatable to
Yeah.
me. Kindness is like walking down the street and just noticing somebody and you're like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
You having a good day?
Yeah.
Why are you having a good day? Bringing something good out of them. That
Yep.
to me, that's kindness.
Yep. Love that. You're
And
good at that.
yeah, I try to make everybody that I meet. I try to make them feel important.
Yeah.
I try to, because they are important.
I've seen that. The other day we went to Caribou and you like somehow related to the person behind the counters. What I can't remember what you, but I was
It
like,
was perks.
it was about the
Perks.
Caribou perks. And
And I was
I
like,
was just
can
like,
I give
how
another
did
person
you?
my perk? Because I don't have perks. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah, Caribou
perks.
perks. I go, how did you create this entire like 5-10 minute conversation out of just perks? And that's just not in me. I don't have that. And I really admire that in you because I think, yeah, like that little interaction in that person and that Caribou worker's day probably was a highlight in it. Who else is kind of making conversation with her and making her feel like important, even just like taking the time to talk to her
Yeah,
and notice and
hopefully a lot of people are, but
hopefully
yeah, I just didn't understand why you couldn't roll over perks to some other stranger.
that
I
is a
was like,
great
maybe you
question.
call headquarters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I believe I was put on this earth to relate to people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I probably had to go through some pretty hard things in my life in order to get me to go there. And I'm choosing to expose that part of me. I'm choosing to expose my life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
choosing to say, you know what? My life can look really fantastic on the outside.
But here's
But
what I'm
here's
dealing with.
what I'm dealing with,
Yeah.
and I think if I can have any platform in this world, God gave me the platform of love.
Yeah.
That's the best thing in the world. I may not know everything about it,
Yeah.
but man, I'm a seeker of it.
Yeah.
And
I would love to do an entire podcast on they say like money can't buy happiness. And it's
Yeah.
like you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have love, if you don't
Yeah.
have, people in your life that care about,
yeah,
it means nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a whole podcast
yeah,
down
I'd
the
love to
road
talk about that.
from someone who has a lot
hmm
in both areas.
Yeah.
But it's going like that would be
Yeah,
really
let's
cool
talk about
conversation.
that.
That would be really
Great
fun.
conversation.
I want to just finish up a little bit by talking about casting a little bit of vision for where this is going. Like this is podcast number 3.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know. There's no expectation. When we started this, I was like, I have zero expectation.
yeah.
Not that I don't have an expectation. Because I'm not
Do you
in
ever want to
charge
public
here.
speak?
Do I ever want to?
Yeah.
If people believe in me enough to
Yeah.
and think that I have something to say and to share, for sure,
Great.
for sure,
Cool.
absolutely. I will do it afraid, and I will do it scared, and I won't wear shoes.
Yeah. Never shoes.
Keep me grounded. Let me
Yeah.
wear if I don't want to wear shoes. So if it's in the winter, no, I'm just kidding. I don't really have. I think when we expect things to happen and they don't happen, we can have disappointment. I just want to share my love for people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to share any wisdom that I may have developed over my years.
Yeah.
That's really it. And if
Yeah.
it's gonna turn into something great, then super. And if it doesn't, you know what? I just feel good about what I'm doing.
Yeah. I love that.
Sucks.
I think that's what I always say it like this. It's like I don't think government's going to change the world. I don't think corporations they're definitely not going to change the world. Organizations
Mhm.
probably not. I think what's going to change the world is every single person taking what's directly in front of them and being intentional with it.
I couldn't agree
And
more.
I think that's what you're doing. And there's not this expectation that you become the Tony Robbins of,
Oh, God, no.
whatever. But
I don't have all those answers.
I think
and
in little
love that.
ways, like fostering community, fostering conversations around this topic is really cool. We've talked about hosting an event that would
Mhm.
bring people together, and
Yeah.
it's not 100 people; it's
Mhm.
6 people.
Yeah.
It's small. It's like I think something you're really good at is seeing the one person, or 6, but the
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and like speaking into them, zeroing in on them, like with laser focus.
I've asked a couple people and they're like, oh gosh. And I was like, it's okay if you don't. And they're like, no, that's vulnerable. Oh my gosh, I
To
don't think I
come to
could
an
do that.
event
And
like
I was
that?
like, You've known me for how long?
Yeah.
Come on, like
Yeah.
if I can do it, you can do it."
Yes.
And I've been, you know, on a little bit of a program before, and I've
Mhm.
done things out in
Mhm.
public before. As a Vikings cheerleader,
Yeah.
you're exposed, like you're dancing, you're exposed. If you
Yeah.
mess up, you're like, and I've gone into a panic, like, what is this? Like, oh, what am I doing? And I've had like, we're doing this, that. I was like, oh, okay. No, I'm not
Can you do
kidding
that
you.
again?
It was like, so I mean,
You being a Vikings cheerleader is blowing my brains.
I know, I
We've
know. Somebody
talked
dared
about it.
me. I was dared, and I just went out and I made it.
You got dared?
I got dared.
That's that's
I got dared.
wild.
Somebody said,
Most
"I
people that I
dare you."
feel like are Vikings cheerleaders don't just get dared on a whim
They
to go
dared
do it.
me. I dare you to go and try it. I was like, I'm not gonna try out,
Yeah.
and I did, and I made it. Um,
That's wild.
but
That's
thing,
fun.
yeah, it's no expectations, right? You
Yeah,
just,
no
oh, okay, now
expectations.
what do I do with it? So, I think just all in all, I think, I'm really grateful for what you do because you do everything. So you do things for me that I have no clue.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. And you're really good at it. Um, and this is getting out there because of that. So I
Mhm.
really appreciate you. I hope you know that each and every day. So, but yeah, these are just, this is, Love Bravely is just, it's having conversations.
Yeah.
You wanted to film me by myself, and I was like, no way.
Can't do
I
it.
can't just look into a camera and talk.
Yeah.
I have to relate to
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the gift that if I'm hearing you correctly, people are like, you always make people feel
Mm.
like they're
Mhm.
seen.
Mhm.
So I guess that's
That's
what I'm
that's
doing.
the goal. Yeah.
That's the goal.
Cool. Well, yeah, we have I won't be on all of these. We're
No, we're gonna
we're
we're
talking
gonna
about doing
really
a
get
podcast
people to
where
be
we're getting
courageous and talk about
yeah, we're
their
getting other people
their
on. We want to interview some of Nicole's kids and
hmm
just have like a round table almost of
Yeah,
like
there you go.
conversation with them. That'd be super cool. I've
Mhm.
met most of your kids and they're
Yeah.
all awesome and I feel like they're as just they're just kind of open books from what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And not that I'm close to them, but they
Sure.
seem like you pass some of that on to them,
Yeah.
which is really cool. So we're going to do some of those conversations. We're hopefully going to be hosting some small gatherings that are just
Yeah.
like fostering community conversation around
hmm
loving bravely, being vulnerable,
hmm
and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's already been fun.
Yeah.
This this is filmed. Is it the 23rd
Yeah.
of
September.
September? Depending, we're not again, and this is raw. We don't know if we're gonna release these monthly. We just want to
Yeah.
film. So we've filmed 3 times now this month, and but
Yeah.
they'll probably come out monthly. So this might not come out till November.
Sure.
But we'll see. So
Mhm.
November it might be snowy, probably not, but we're out here in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And so
Sweet.
there'll be a cadence to how we release them. We're still figuring that out. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I think it's
Yeah.
so fun having these
Back at you.
conversations. And we've talked a ton, but I still learn different things about you on camera, in person, or like in
Yeah.
on
Sure.
film.
Because I'm just on the spot, like, here's
Can't fake it.
can't fake it, man.
Can't
I'm like,
fake it. Better roll with
oh
it.
gosh, this is really hard. I don't like it, but yeah, it is what it is, and it's just it's only my ego that
Yeah.
can get really hurt if I,
Yeah. Ego's the enemy.
ego's the enemy. So whatever,
Cool.
go live bravely.
Go love bravely.